Imagine being treated unfairly every single day by someone in power, someone who is supposed to guide you. Now, what if you had the power to change everything in just one moment? Meet the boy who, after facing years of racial prejudice, becomes the hero of the hour and changes his fate forever. A typical school day unfolds at a suburban high school, the kind where the sun pours in through the windows and the usual hustle of students fills the hallways. The bell rings, signaling the start of another class, and the students rush to their seats, chatting with each other, eager for the bell that would free them from the confines of school. However, in one classroom, things are about to take a turn that will forever change one student's life. A black boy sits quietly at his desk, his eyes focused on the work in front of him, but his thoughts are heavy with the weight of years of prejudice. Miss Hamilton, a white teacher in her late 40s, is no stranger to making him feel small. The boy had long ago learned to keep his head down, to not challenge her, even though every word from her felt like a personal attack. She constantly belittled his abilities in front of the class, made snide comments about his potential, and ignored his questions without even a second glance. Despite his brilliance, she found every reason to make him feel like he didn't belong. Her words were laced with a subtle venom, never directly attacking him, but always reminding him that his place was beneath her and the others. This particular day, however, felt different. As the lesson droned on, the boy's mind wandered from the material. He had tried for years to gain her approval, to prove his worth, but it was always met with dismissal. He dreamed of a future where his skin color wouldn't determine his potential, where he would be seen as capable, without the biases and microaggressions that accompanied his every move in this classroom. But today, things would change. The school day continued like any other until the fire alarm rang suddenly, piercing the quiet atmosphere. The students, confused and startled, began to look around at each other, unsure of what to do. The boy glanced at the door, and the sight that met his eyes was something he hadn't expected. Miss Hamilton, instead of evacuating like the others, was still sitting at her desk, completely oblivious to the growing danger. The room, filled with smoke, had begun to fill with the sharp scent of something burning. The boy's heart raced as he realized she hadn't noticed the fire that had begun to spread near the door. Without thinking, he sprang to action, his mind focused solely on her safety. He raced toward the teacher, pushing past desks and debris as the smoke thickened. Miss Hamilton, still in her dazed state, didn't immediately realize what was happening. The boy reached her just in time, grabbing her arm and pulling her toward the door. She resisted at first, disoriented by the smoke, but he didn't let go. His determination drove him to act swiftly, guided by a sense of duty, despite all the years of hurt and humiliation she had subjected him to. The students watched in stunned silence as the boy, who had never been given a fair chance, acted with the courage and composure of someone who had nothing to prove. The flames were now closer, but the boy's focus was laser-sharp. He managed to pull Miss Hamilton out of the room, ushering her to safety, just before the fire consumed the classroom entirely. As they made it to the hall, gasping for air and shaken by the close call, the boy realized something remarkable. He had just saved the life of the very person who had belittled him, humiliated him, and treated him as inferior for years. His actions did not go unnoticed. The students who had silently observed him take the abuse, the ones who had seen him struggle under her judgment, now saw a new side of him. A side they hadn't expected. He wasn't just a victim anymore. He was a hero. Despite everything, he had acted selflessly, saving the very woman who had constantly tried to put him down. The boy had endured Miss Hamilton's disdain from the moment he stepped into her classroom. Every day felt like a battle he never asked for, a constant reminder that his place in her class wasn't one of equality. His accent, his clothes, the way he carried himself, nothing about him seemed to meet her expectations. When he raised his hand, she ignored him or dismissed his answers with a patronizing laugh. The constant ridicule, the judgment, and the stereotyping made it feel as though he was invisible in a classroom meant to teach. Despite all the obstacles, the boy's intelligence shone brightly. He knew he had the potential to excel, but Miss Hamilton was determined to push him down. He had proven himself time and time again, earning a place on the honor roll, but Miss Hamilton's belief in his failure was unwavering. When the boy was recognized for his hard work, she scoffed, questioning whether he had cheated or gotten lucky. The words stung, but they also fueled him. She saw him as a stereotype, a black student, incapable of truly succeeding, but he refused to believe that her narrow view defined him. At home, his parents had taught him resilience, how to keep fighting even when the world was determined to knock him down. They taught him that his worth was not defined by the prejudices of others, but by his actions, his integrity, and his intelligence. Yet, at school, it felt like a war every day. He fought for the right to be seen, to be heard, to be treated fairly. But no matter how hard he tried, Miss Hamilton's prejudice cast a shadow over his every effort. Still, he did not let her words define him. He worked harder, studied longer, and believed that one day the world would see who he truly was, a smart, capable student deserving of respect. Miss Hamilton, on the other hand, believed that her role was to be the ultimate gatekeeper of success. Her power as a teacher, in her mind, gave her the right to decide who succeeded and who failed. She believed that her privilege was unquestionable and that her authority was absolute. To her, the students in her class were products of their backgrounds, and she used her position of power to reinforce those beliefs. For black students, especially the boy, success was a far-fetched idea. She was convinced that their efforts were futile, that they would never make it, no matter how hard they tried. She had a set idea of what students like him were capable of, and she never once thought to challenge it. Her actions went beyond mere neglect. They were cruel, intentional, and hurtful. "You should be lucky to even be here," she once told the boy, her voice dripping with disdain. "People like you never go far in life. It's a waste." These words were not just slights. They were poison, meant to break his spirit and convince him that he would never succeed. She said these things in front of the class, making sure everyone heard her cruel commentary. Her classroom became a place where the boy was not allowed to thrive, a place where his potential was denied. He wasn't just punished with low grades, he was punished with her words. As time passed, her behavior only grew worse. She stopped calling on him, even when he had the correct answer. She graded him unfairly, giving him lower marks than his classmates for the same work. Meanwhile, she lavished praise and attention on the white students, reinforcing her belief that they were somehow more deserving of her respect. It would have been easy for the boy to give up, to succumb to the pressure of being constantly belittled and dismissed. But he didn't. Instead, he doubled down. His resolve to rise above her treatment became stronger each day. He worked harder, studied longer, and carried himself with a quiet determination, knowing that one day someone would see him for who he truly was. Not a black student who didn't belong, but a student with potential. a student who could achieve greatness despite the prejudices of those around him. The boy's journey was never easy, but every challenge only strengthened his will to succeed. And though Miss Hamilton continued to treat him with contempt, the boy knew that his story wasn't over yet. One day, he would prove that no matter how deep the prejudice ran, his resilience would always outshine it. The class is going on as usual, when suddenly a loud crackling sound comes from the back of the classroom. Sparks fly from the electrical wiring, and within seconds a fire erupts, spreading rapidly. The room becomes chaotic, with the air quickly thickening with smoke. Students scream in panic as they rush toward the door, but the thickening smoke and the flames make it difficult to see. Panic quickly sets in, and everyone scrambles, trying to find an escape. Among the chaos, the boy stays calm. He doesn't panic, although the fire seems to grow faster with every passing second. His eyes dart around the room, watching students stumble and collide with each other. But his focus remains on one person, Miss Hamilton. Instead of reacting, she stands frozen, her face filled with fear, her eyes wild as she watches the room erupt into chaos. The other students begin pushing toward the door, but Miss Hamilton doesn't make a move to direct them or to help. The boy feels a surge of disbelief. He's always known that Miss Hamilton had issues with him, but he never imagined that she would be this paralyzed by fear in a moment like this. The boy takes a deep breath and makes a decision. Someone needs to take control of this situation, and it's clear that the teacher, who should be guiding the students, isn't able to do so. The boy pushes through the panicked crowd, his focus completely on the teacher. He makes his way to the front, ignoring the heat and the growing smoke around him, his feet moving quicker with every second. He sees Miss Hamilton standing there, still frozen, her body trembling with fear, looking around but doing nothing. He doesn't think twice. He rushes toward her, grabs her by the arm, and pulls her toward the door. Her first instinct is to resist, too shocked to understand what's happening. "Come on," the boy urges, his voice calm despite the chaos. His heart is racing, but his actions are steady. "We need to go now." He pulls her harder, using all the strength he has to guide her out of the room, even as the heat from the fire grows more intense. Have you ever had to make a split-second decision to save someone's life, even when they've hurt you? The boy's actions speak volumes about his character. This is more than just survival. This is about rising above hatred, about showing courage when it's needed most. What would you do in this moment? He asks himself silently. He doesn't think about the years of insults and prejudice. He only thinks about saving her. Tell us where you're watching from, and share your thoughts on this moment of heroism. The door slams open as the boy drags Miss Hamilton out of the classroom. The hallway is filled with people, some of whom have already made it out, others still frantically trying to escape the smoke-filled hallways. The boy breathes heavily, but he keeps calm, focusing on getting them both to safety. Miss Hamilton, struggling to catch her breath, looks up at him with wide eyes, her chest heaving as she takes in the fresh air. The boy doesn't stop until they're far enough away from the burning room. As they stand together in the hallway, the boy, though shaken, remains steady, proud of his decision. His heart still beats rapidly, but he knows this is what he had to do. He risked everything to save her. Miss Hamilton, still in shock, takes a moment to process what has just happened. Her breath comes in ragged gasps, but her gaze is fixed on the boy. He is standing there, breathing hard but composed, his face filled with nothing but focus and determination. The fire may have tried to take control of the day, but this boy took control of the moment, saving not just himself, but the very person who had made him feel worthless, time and time again. As she finally catches her breath, Miss Hamilton looks at him, her face pale and full of disbelief. The boy stands tall, a quiet sense of victory emanating from him. In that moment, he knows something has changed. The very teacher who had been so quick to dismiss him, who had belittled him for months, was now standing before him, saved by his hands. The boy's dignity, his resolve, and his heart made this moment his own. The fire is quickly contained, and emergency responders flood the scene. Classmates gather around the boy, patting him on the back and calling him a hero. The buzz of admiration grows louder, but it's not just his peers who notice. Word of the fire spreads quickly, and soon social media is flooded with videos of his bravery. People from all over the city are sharing the footage, expressing their admiration for his courage and composure in the face of danger. But it's not just the students who take notice. Ms. Hamilton, the teacher who had spent months belittling the boy, is watching from the sidelines. The moment the fire is out and the scene begins to calm, she steps toward the boy, her face red with shame. Her eyes are filled with guilt, and there's a visible hesitation in her step. She knows that something inside her has changed, her worldview, her attitude, her understanding of this boy, and the reality of what happened. The boy stands still, his classmates now surrounding him, some still in shock from the events that just unfolded. He watches Miss Hamilton approach, her gaze not filled with the usual disdain, but with regret. The air between them feels thick with unspoken words, the weight of the past hanging in the balance. "I never realized." Miss Hamilton starts, her voice trembling. She looks down, her shoulders slumped. "I was wrong about you." Her apology is sincere, but there's a quiet recognition in the boy's eyes. He doesn't respond right away. Words alone, he knows, can't undo the years of humiliation. But her admission of guilt, her realization that she had underestimated him, is a start, a small but powerful moment that shifts the course of their relationship. The boy, still shaken from the fire but composed, simply nods. He doesn't say much. He knows that this moment, though significant, won't erase everything. He has always been more than what she had thought of him, and today he had proven that. But the journey to healing, his healing and hers, will take time. As the media frenzy continues around the boy's heroic act, a twist emerges that no one could have predicted. It's revealed that the boy's family has significant influence in the community. His parents have quietly contributed to local charitable causes and have built a reputation for their work in supporting underprivileged children. What seemed like a quiet, ordinary family turns out to have ties to influential leaders in the city. After the story of the boy's heroism goes viral, a local foundation, recognizing his bravery and potential, offers to fund his future education. They see beyond the boy's humble background and know that his courage and intelligence should not be wasted. The foundation promises to help him attend the best schools, opening doors he never thought possible. This is not just a moment of gratitude. It's a complete turnaround for the boy, one that offers opportunities he couldn't have imagined. The boy, who had once been dismissed and belittled, now finds himself at the center of attention. But his heart isn't swelled with pride. It's filled with quiet gratitude and a deep sense of hope. He had always believed that his hard work would pay off, that one day he would prove himself. And now, with the foundation's offer, that future seems more tangible than ever. In the days that follow, the boy is offered mentorship from some of the city's most successful and compassionate leaders. His story becomes an example of resilience, not only for his peers but for adults who realize the importance of seeing people for who they truly are, not through the lens of bias, but through the lens of potential. The boy's fate has transformed, and as the community rallies around him, it's clear that he's not just a hero in a classroom. He's a hero who will change the world. The school assembly is filled with anticipation as Miss Hamilton steps up to the podium. The boy, seated near the front, watches quietly, his classmates surrounding him, many still in awe of his bravery. Miss Hamilton, who had once belittled him, now stands before them, visibly humbled. Her face is flushed with shame as she addresses the student body. "I owe this young man an apology," she begins, her voice steady but filled with remorse. "For too long, I let my biases cloud my judgment. I disrespected him in ways that I now see were unacceptable, and for that, I am truly sorry." Her words hang in the air as the students listen intently. She continues, acknowledging her mistakes and explaining that, from this point forward, she is committed to changing. "I've signed up for diversity and inclusion training, and I'll be working closely with the administration to ensure that the school becomes a place where every student feels valued, no matter their background or race." There's a moment of silence, and then the students begin to clap, but the boy's thoughts remain grounded. His actions, his bravery in the face of adversity, are far louder than her words. He knows that true change doesn't come from apologies alone. It comes from sustained actions. Though he accepts her apology, his eyes are focused on the future, and it is clear that this moment will not define him. Instead, it is the courage and dignity he showed in the classroom that will. In the days that follow, the boy's life takes a dramatic turn. The scholarship from the local foundation opens doors that had once seemed beyond his reach. He begins attending a prestigious school, one that offers him the resources and opportunities he had dreamed of. There he thrives, academically, socially, and emotionally. His classmates, who once might have overlooked him, now look up to him, inspired by his resilience. The boy, now surrounded by a supportive community, transforms his life. He immerses himself in his studies, excelling in ways that leave no doubt about his intelligence and potential. His leadership begins to shine through, and his story becomes one of inspiration, not just for the underdog, but for everyone who's ever faced prejudice or adversity. As he moves through his education, the boy becomes a vocal advocate for equity. He uses his newfound platform to speak out against the inequalities he's faced, as well as those experienced by others. His voice is powerful, resonating with those who have felt overlooked or dismissed, and he continues to work tirelessly to break down the barriers that once held him back. The boy's journey isn't just about his personal growth. It's about lifting others up as well. He becomes a champion of change, dedicating his time to mentoring other young people who've faced similar struggles in education and life. He shows them that no matter the obstacles in their way, they too can rise. They too can achieve greatness. Throughout his journey, the boy never forgets the lesson he learned through adversity, that one's spirit can never be broken by the injustices others impose. His story becomes a shining example of how resilience, combined with the support of a community, can lead to real change. The boy's life transformation, fueled by his unwavering determination and commitment to equity, doesn't just change his own future. It also sets the stage for future generations to follow in his footsteps. Through his efforts, he demonstrates that the fight for justice is a long and hard one, but with courage, determination, and the support of others, true change is always possible. The transformation within the school community is profound. Over time, the lessons learned from the boy's bravery permeate throughout the institution. Teachers, once unaware of the subtle ways they might perpetuate bias, now attend workshops on inclusivity and fairness. These professional development opportunities focus on creating an environment where every student, regardless of race, feels valued and supported. The school implements new policies that focus on equality in grading, student interaction, and extracurricular activities. The administration ensures that every student is treated with respect, and discrimination, whether subtle or overt, has no place in the classroom. As the school grows and evolves, the boy's story becomes a symbol of resilience. His name is associated with hope and strength in the face of adversity, inspiring his peers and even the faculty. He continues to excel academically, shattering expectations and showing everyone that his potential was never defined by his race, background, or the prejudice he faced. His hard work and perseverance demonstrate to others that success is built on the foundation of determination, self-belief, and support from those around you. But the boy's journey doesn't stop within the school's walls. Word of his transformation spreads beyond the school, touching the hearts of other communities. His story is shared in local news, inspiring others who've experienced similar hardships to rise above them. He becomes involved in various initiatives aimed at promoting equality and justice, advocating for the voices of those who have been ignored or marginalized. Eventually, the boy's dedication to justice and his tireless advocacy for equality lead him to become an influential figure within his community. He becomes a mentor, guiding younger students who have faced challenges and using his story to show them that their struggles don't define their future. The boy not only changes his own life, but becomes a beacon of hope for others, reminding them that resilience in the face of prejudice is one of the most powerful tools for success. One day, standing at a podium at a local community event, the boy reflects on his journey. The audience watches in silence, captivated by the strength and wisdom that radiates from him. As he speaks, he thanks the people who supported him along the way, his family, his friends, and even the teachers who helped him grow. He shares his story of how he rose above the prejudice he encountered, demonstrating that perseverance and hope can lead to real change. In the back of the room, Ms. Hamilton watches him with a mixture of pride and regret. She sees in him not just a young man who overcame adversity, but the embodiment of the changes she too needed to make in her own life. Her eyes well up with emotion as she reflects on how her wrongdoings were the catalyst for this moment of growth. She knows that her apology, though important, will never undo the harm caused. But seeing the boy stand before a crowd, confident and unbowed, is a reminder that growth and healing are possible, even after years of mistakes. The final scene is a testament to the boy's journey, to how one person's courage and determination can transform not just their own life, but the lives of others. As he concludes his speech, the crowd rises to their feet, applauding him for his bravery, his commitment to justice, and his ability to forgive. The boy's words echo in the room, resonating deeply with everyone present. It's not about how you start. It's about how you rise. And I rise for justice every day,